should I fear the lion? Why should I fear any foe? With Jehovah by my side, I will not run and hide. My God is with me, this I know. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith,
those faithful ones before us lived their lives in loyalty. By their faith they endured, their future is assured. They'll stand again for all to see. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith,
with eyes of faith, I can move a mountain. With eyes of faith, my hope is sure. Where would I be without the faith that helps me see beyond the trials I endure?
I see the wondrous future God has in store for me. I need to be strong. I know it won't be long till Jehovah claims his victory. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith. With eyes of faith.
I close my eyes and I can see a world of peace, love, and harmony. Come with me and you'll see, you will see. It's not a dream, as I'm sure you know. These things got promised so long ago, a guarantee, sure to be, you will see. Look around, there's joy and laughter in every sound. Look and see, this is the way I fell asleep along the way. They live again, we see them every day. Come with me and you'll see, you will see. Used to be is gone forever, now it's history. Come with me and you'll see, you will see. Look around, there's joy and laughter in every sound. Look and see, this is the way our God meant it to be. Jehovah's word is enough for me. With eyes of faith, it's reality as we see what's in store. You can be sure, until the moon is no more. When you close your eyes and come with me to God's world of peace and harmony, come with me and you'll see, you will see.
There's my camera. So I wasn't able to do audio check before we started. If you can hear me, give me a little wave, please. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right now it's difficult to say a warm welcome, weather-wise, etc. But I'll say a hearty welcome to all of you for being here to support us on this occasion. It is also difficult to say good afternoon, good morning, or good evening since we are coming from far and wide, but wherever you are, welcome to all. Our program is intended to last about an hour 15, 20 minutes. We'll see how that goes. And so far, I sincerely hope you've enjoyed your interchange of expressions among one another and watching, as I saw for the first time too, what was ably put together by other members of the family. A very fine job indeed. As always, we begin our program with a song and prayer. A talk will follow for about half an hour, 40 minutes or thereabout, whatever. And then we close with another song and prayer. I believe there are a few expressions that will be made by some of us on the screen here today. Our opening song for this program is song number 137. You probably will see the words on the screen if you don't have a device in front of you. But you will also notice that the song is formed around the words of Romans 16 and verse 2. When Paul, speaking of outstanding Christian faithful women, he mentions Phoebe. And among other things he says of Phoebe is that she proved to be a defender of many, including Paul himself. And I think you know very well from the record of my dear mother that she proved to have been a defender of many and Jehovah God as well. So please, let us sing song number 137. And at the end of the song, Brother Raymond Alexis will open in prayer for us. Song 137.
Let's show them in prayer. Jehovah God, our majestic Father in the heavens, we approach your lofty throne of undeserved kindness. And we're so thankful as we approach you as a family. And we are here because we're here to remember the life and the course that was set by a beautiful woman, Muriel Hinds, known to most of us as June Hinds, went to sleep a couple of weeks ago. And the sadness is still there for us, but at the same time, dear Father, we're thrilled to be here because we're going to be able to recount her life course. We're going to be able to recount her spiritual qualities. We're going to reflect on the fact that she, as was mentioned by her son, she was a defender of many. She showed love for so many. She was generous to all. She was a mother to not only her children, but she was a mother to so many. She was an auntie, a sister. Her expressions that we can remember and can reflect on. And so while we're here at this memorial service, we're going to be able to reflect on these things. It may bring a smile, a chuckle, a tear. But we know, dear Father, that most importantly, as we reflect on her life and her qualities and how she displayed them and how she proved to be a loyal servant of yours, she lived her life in loyalty. Though she is sleeping, and these are qualities that we're going to miss, she is alive in your memory. And these qualities live in your memory. And by our reflecting on these things, we're going to do what you've encouraged us to do. And that is reflect on our own lives. Look at her example, how she lived her life, the things that she did, the example she was for her family, the way that she trained her family, and you could see the success that she had in the raising of her children. These are all things we're going to look at. And it's going to help us to look at our own selves and be able to make whatever adjustments we can make so that we can live our lives similarly in imitation of her faith and how she demonstrated that faith. So we pray, dear Father, that your blessing be upon this memorial service, the brother who will be speaking, all who are taking part in the deliberations, as well as those who may be interviewed, and all of us present once again, so that we can focus on her life, her ministry, and when we see her again in the new world, we'll be able to inform her that we reflected on her course, and it's because of that reflection and our striving to imitate her, that's why we're there to welcome her back. And we're so thankful. So for this, we thank you, dear Father. We ask for forgiveness where we fall short. And we offer this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much for that, Brother Raymond. I'm not sure how much you left for Peter to say, but that was a very truly touching and encouraging prayer. Thank you very much. So it was 2 Fridays ago that we were at the Westbury Cemetery, and that's where Mommy was interred. And if you notice, it was private. That was basically because of numbers related to COVID. And you also had an opportunity, if you chose to see what that was like before we started. That to say that on that occasion, her oldest son, David, took care of the expressions of faith and conducted the program there for us last Friday. We come now to this occasion when we in more detail have an address on the life and the ministry of our dear sister, our mother, as well as encouraging thoughts that we can all benefit from. Well, her youngest son is going to do that for us. He is Peter. So I invite you now to give him your attention for the next whatever time.
So let me say again, good afternoon and welcome. Like Michael, I too had hoped to say to you, welcome from a sunny, beautiful Barbados. But it's okay. The rains are also a blessing from Jehovah. We thank him for them, and we say welcome to you from a rainy, cool Barbados. I know that you are all over the world, in England, in Canada, throughout the States. You would have set aside your affairs to be here, and we want to say how much we appreciate that. Born on the 29th of August, 1929, she was registered with the name Muriel Ometa Hinds. But hardly was she ever called that name. She was June to everybody. I've asked over and over again how she got the name, and to this day I still do not know. But that seemed to be a Barbadian or West Indian thing. I remember getting married to my wife, Kay, and attending her sister's wedding, only to find out during the vows that she was Betty, and I only knew her as Joy. So the thing is that this is a common thing. Once she got married to my father, who was Fitzwilliam de Costa Hinds, she would now be known as June Hinds. And that is how most persons referred to my mother. The union between herself and my dad produced 7 children, one of them having predeceased her, that is Miriam. We used to refer to her as Dasa. And the others that survived would be myself, Peter, Michael, the chairman, and David. Also surviving my mom would be her daughters, Joyce Phillips and Esther or Ann Winter, and Deborah Aline, who is in Boston in the United States. Mommy is also survived by her twin brothers, Vincent and Theodore. Theodore residing in England. But as Brother Alexis said in his prayer, my mother had more than 7 children. You see, all the spouses of her children were her children. So while Betty was alive and Edwin, they were her children. Now Kay and Hetty are her children. And it's interesting sometimes to hear how she refers to them both. They're darlings. That's how my mom would speak of them. But not only are the spouses' wives her children, Mommy had as her children Christina and Roger Thomas. They were her children. Danielle Hinds was Mommy's child. All of these were those she referred to as her children, and who would be by her side through thick and thin. But then there were also her spiritual children. It's interesting that as I reflect on how persons refer to her, as they called it, offer condolences, they would always say Mommy Hinds. So she had many, many, many children. And you can add to that the spiritual children. Mommy would have spent years throughout almost all the parishes of Barbados, preaching and teaching as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And so she acquired many more children, spiritual children. She had close friends. From the time I was born, I could remember at my house, Edith Daniel. And Edith remained my mommy's good friend up until mommy's death. Edith is still alive. And as regards other friends, there were people who would call her sisters and brothers, Elsie Beckles and Marion Bailey, Marion Seeley, Patsy Husbands, Janice Clement, who was not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but would call my mother, and there were numerous amongst of those, too many or too numerous to mention. And in recent years, Alison Drago and Beverly Simmons also became my mother's close friends. They were like children to her. Quite often she would say, I had 7 children, but look how many your mama got now. That is what mommy would say as she thought of her children. I want now to turn my attention to my well-meaning and concerned friends, brothers and sisters. I know that you were worried about me being able to do this. I too had my own concerns. But as you know, with Jehovah's help and the help of his Holy Spirit, all things are possible. Yes, it's not that easy. It is made easier though by a number of other factors. There's a significant one that I want to draw your attention to, and it's found in the Bible at Genesis chapter 50 and verse 5. It says, my father made me swear, and this is Joseph speaking as he was giving an account to Pharaoh's court. He said, my father made me swear, saying, look, I am dying. You are to bury me in this or in my burial place, which I've excavated in the land of Canaan. Please let me go up and bury my father, after which I will return. He replied. Now, what was happening is that he was honoring a request. I am doing the same thing. You see, mommy used to always say, I know all my children. She knew she was dying. And she would say, you, Peter, you're always hiding from me. And he doesn't want to see me, right? Because he will go around the corner and cry. She was telling the truth. I wanted to see her only alive, but she knew me. She said Joyce will bawl. Michael and David, they wouldn't do it. She knew exactly each person and what each person would do. And I bear the responsibility of honoring that request. I want to go back to this song, and it was interesting to note that Michael made reference to it. Actually, it forms the basis for my discourse. That song says, Mary and Esther, Ruth, and all those others. From the time I heard that song, from the time my mother heard that song, she loved it, and I loved it. But every time I sang that song, I would always include her name in it. So for example, I'm not going to sing, but I would sing Sarah, Muriel, Esther, Ruth, and many others. Or sometimes as I sing, I would sing Junie, Sarah, Esther, Ruth, and many others. All these were capable women, loving wives. Now, did you notice that among the names mentioned there is the name of Ruth? It was only recent at our meetings that Ruth was discussed. And a particular event in Ruth's life caught my attention that I applied to mommy, to Junie. The principle was in those days, and Naomi had asked Ruth had asked Naomi to go back, Ruth to go back to her homeland and to go back to her gods. And she said, no, I'm going to stay. But then she organized for her to go to Boaz, and the principle was the principle of repurchasing. Go to Boaz, this man. He would make a good repurchaser for you and provide and be a good husband. She told her what to do. She went. And in Ruth chapter 3 and verse 10, note the dialogue. It says, at that he said, this is Boaz, may Jehovah bless you, my daughter. You've shown loyal love more in this last instance than in the first instance. And this is the part that caught my attention. By not going after the young men, whether poor or rich. Why did it catch my attention as it related to money? Well, think of this beautiful 19-year-old. And then you think of my father, and I want you to think of my next expression in the context of what I'm saying. This old man. You see, prior to my mother My father had as many as 6 children from different women. But here is this young, beautiful girl, and she chooses her old man. And I can say that because that's what my mother would repeatedly say, your papa, my old man. What she did in the process was to ensure, because I've never heard my mother speak of her father, but she ensured that we could speak of ours with dignity and quality. That was the nature of my mother. Do you understand why I would say that the song applied to her? Yes. Now, the song says that these women were Lord capable women, loving wives. And the account in Proverbs 31, you often hear people say this body is not a Proverbs 31 wife, or this body is a Proverbs 31 wife. Because Proverbs 31, Lemuel's mother was trying to tell him how to choose a good woman. And as I think of the expression capable wife, loving wife, my mother comes to the fore. Again, you would recognize that I will make constant reference to my father and my mother in the same breath. Because again, of that choice, she made sure we could speak about him by her choice of him as a father. But quite often as a little boy, I would see my father at conventions or assemblies or delivering public talks. And if the subject had to do with families, husbands, wives, he was proud of that little beautiful young girl. And I can hear him saying, has a man found a good wife, he's found a good thing. And then he would point and say, see there, I have found a good wife. My mother would be asked to stand up, and she would stand up because in his mind, he had found a capable woman, a loving wife. What made her capable and loving? Some of the things mentioned, or among the things mentioned, were industriousness, thriftiness. Now, I have known my mother only as working the land. This she did all her life. I never went to school and never came home and found my mother not home. Same with my father. They worked the land. Capable? As they say in Barbados, she could pelt a fork or a hoe. Did it comfortably and beautifully. She planted the land. They took care of the land. She then turned around, reaped what was to be harvested, and then sold it in the market as she plied her trade. Again, you ask yourself, industrious? Yes. Thrifty? Of course, that was my mom. She knew and applied, and therefore the words of that song that indicated that this is how she would be, or what a capable wife would be, loving and trustworthy, is also true. Then it talks about her watching after the goings on of her household day and night. Whenever we were sick, she took good care of us, and this she did. Actually, the extent of her care extended to me personally, even after I was married. I'm living in St. Philip. St. Thomas is the center of the island. And I have a toothache. And I say to Kay, I need mommy. So I leave St. Philip and I drive to St. Thomas. Because the only hands that could soothe me was my mommy. And that's how we refer to her sometimes, as Junie. That is what I want. Her care for her household and how she watched over us was obviously evident in situations such as those. You know, when we think of mommy, that text too says that a capable wife or a good woman is generous, in kind. I think of my mother's generosity and kindness, and sometimes, especially after my father's death, I believe it sort of became her more so, because my father was the one that everybody would perceive as generous. But mommy now seemed to have taken her generosity to a new level. once he died. I remember jokingly, she said, you know, I was not like your father, as generous as he was. And she tells a story. She's taken the things to town to sell, and she hides this beautiful pair because she says that's going to give me a good dollar. My father now, a friend visits the house, and he says, June, where is that pair you had? Bring it and give it to her. And she said, I vexed. He gave me my pair and it's this. But you know, mommy adopted that same attitude as she developed her life. She found herself in a situation where she was that generous. I remember anybody who came to that house in Richmond Hall, no matter where you came from, and there were many, any of the traveling representatives who came to the branch office in those days and even now would have to pass through Richmond Hall. Whether it was Brother Walker, whether it was Brother Toes, whoever was the coordinator at the time, they would bring all those individuals who were representatives from the branch to my mother and father's house. They would have to get something to eat and drink, and they would be able to tour the land, and they would take something from there. The traveling overseers, Brother Alexis made reference to it. I believe everyone here would have benefited from my mother's generosity. She would have cooked for them. And you know, something came to my mind too. Even if the traveling overseer was serving the other congregation, not in my mother's area, but the territory was, my mother has cooked. She has made sure that they have benefited when it came to people staying at the house. No matter how many there were, she would be the person to make sure that she take care of. Yes, now you can see why I would say that my mother's name, or why I felt that my mother's name belonged in that song. Now, the song also says, godly devotion was foremost in their lives. I saw my mother take care of my father's aunt. Old, troublesome, but mommy cooked for her every day. I saw my mother take care of my sister when she had lupus, and it was a challenge. Take care of her constantly. I saw my mother take care of my father when he was ill. But you know what was outstanding, and I commented on this at a meeting the other night? She never missed a meeting. She never missed the service, and she always made sure she did her personal research. We talk about godly devotion. It is defined as reverence or worship and service to God with loyalty to his universal sovereignty. And it indicates a deep love for him. That was mommy. She developed godly devotion. She allowed it to guide her, and she allowed it to be the thing that she was proud of. We already spoke to her godly acts of conduct and good deeds. And let me say this too, as it relates to godly devotion. My mommy saw the need to give to Jehovah, although she did not have a lot. You know, one of the last things she did? She told my wife here, looking that bag, you will see a plastic bag. That is the contribution that you give to the congregation at that time. That was not the first time she'd done it. But it just tells you that her deeds of godly devotion were not a veneer. They were active qualities, and acts of kindness were genuine qualities. But as we reflect on these excellent qualities displayed by my mother, I'm sure that you would agree with me that the sentiments expressed in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1 actually applies to her. So we're going to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, a good name is better than good oil. Let me pause there. A good name is a good reputation. And there's no doubt in my mind that mommy made a good reputation, a good name with God. I believe she got a good name at birth, Muriel. I believe she got a good name when they call her June. I believe that the titles Mummy and granny and grandma all applied were nice titles, but her reputation preceded her. And in Jehovah's eyes, that's not a bad thing. And so a good day that or a day that might otherwise be bad can very well be deemed as good because Jehovah God has, or my mother has made a good name with God. Are there benefits to making a good name with Jehovah? I say yes. And I want to use the scripture in Malachi to prove this. In Malachi chapter 3 and verse 16, we read, at that time, those who feared Jehovah spoke with one another, each one with his companion. And Jehovah kept paying attention and listening. And note this, a book of remembrance was written before him. Yes, Jehovah saw Mommy's actions, registers those actions. And as a result of that, he will reward her for their standards of sticking close to his standards as well. What will the reward be? Everlasting life. Yes, everlasting life is linked to a good name, the name that we make with God, or good record. Jehovah desires to record or reward us with life and life without end. From the very beginning, that was Jehovah's purpose when he created mankind. That is the purpose of everlasting life. But as you are all aware, Adam and Eve squandered that opportunity, that prospect for both themselves and for their offspring. Romans chapter 5 and verse 12 puts it quite nicely. Romans chapter 5 and verse 12. It says, that is why just as through one man sin entered into the world and death through sin. And so death spread to all men because they had all sinned. Yes, Mommy learned that. She appreciated that it wasn't anything that she'd done or anybody does that was responsible for why mankind dies. That only action for that was the action of Adam and Eve by disobeying Jehovah, by sinning, and it brought death to all mankind. Well, she learned and accepted that truth. She also, in association with that, understood what the condition would be of a person who dies. What is that condition? You know, there are many theories, and I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 9, and compare it with Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verses 6 and 9. But let me say this, in many cultures, there are many concepts as to what happens when we die. But I want you to listen carefully to this statement. False answers do not bring true satisfaction. Only false comfort. Need me to say that again? False answers do not bring true satisfaction. Only false comfort. You know, to tell a little or a parent of a little child that the parent has gone to heaven. Mommy and daddy is just around the corner somewhere. Don't worry, it's comfort, but it's false and it's not true. What does the Bible say is the condition of the day? Well, in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 19, it says this, in the sweat, and Jehovah was pronouncing judgment on Adam and Eve, in the sweat of your face you will eat bread until you return to the ground. Out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return. Where was Adam made from? What was Adam made from? The earth, the ground. When he died, what would happen to him? He would become dust or earth again. And the Bible is clear with that. Note another scriptural truth that is in Ecclesiastes chapter 9. I read first of all verse 4. It says, for there's a hope for whoever is among the living, because a live dog is better off than a dead lion. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing at all, nor do they have any more reward, because all memory of them is forgotten. But if you go down to verse 9, it says, enjoy life with your beloved wife, all the days of your futile life. He says, which has been given unto the sun all the days of your futility. For this is your lot in life, and in your hard work at which you will toil under the sun. So a person can toil hard under the sun, enjoy life, but really and truly, when that person dies, there is no more reward, there's no more knowledge, nothing for that individual. In fact, when you look at that text, it clearly indicates that our strengths change, our abilities and functions change with death. We can't be jealous of anybody anymore. We can't hate anybody any longer. We don't have a salary. No one is able to leave for us a plate of food. When the comparison is made between a dog and a lion, imagine this, and you know it too. Take a little chihuahua. When a lion is dead, tell me who is stronger. Does the lion have the power that he has as king of the jungle then? Of course not. So really and truly, when we think about it, the Bible is very clear as to the condition of the dead. Mommy understood that, accepted it as a truth, and taught it to others. Knowing the condition of the dead would have contributed to my mother not being fearful to die. You know, she would say, y'all can't do anything else for me. You can't do anything for Mamacita. But sometimes she referred to herself like that, or Deborah would refer to her like that. You've done all you could. But you know what? Despite all that, I saw a woman beautiful in life, beautiful in death. Because she accepted the reality, and she accepted that reality, aware of the fact that there would be a future and a hope for those who died. And you know what, friends? Jesus, on whom Christianity is founded, believed that death did not end it all either. Think about it. So often people repeat John 3:16, and they may add, it is as true as. So they accept by saying that John 3:16 is true. What does John 3:16 indicate? That God loved mankind so much that he gave his only begotten son, in order that everyone exercising faith in him might not be destroyed, but have what? Everlasting life. Everlasting life for those who live through the end of the system, or everlasting life as a gift to those who are brought back in the resurrection. The resurrection, yes. Mommy believed in the resurrection. She was aware that Jesus performed resurrections, taught his disciples to have strong faith in it. And also, she was aware that it was a future thing to look forward to. And that even though she would die, the resurrection hope was real. You know, this too is a contentious subject. The Apostle Paul, and I'm not going to read it, in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, discussed it extensively with the individuals at that time. He reasoned, if there's no resurrection of the dead, then Christ has not been risen. And remember, I said that Jesus is the foundation of Christianity. So in essence, if there is no resurrection, Christianity is fake. If there is no resurrection, he further reasons, Jehovah's a liar. Because who resurrected Jesus? Jehovah did. So, would it not make sense for you and I, my mommy, to accept that truth? The truth of a resurrection. Yes, she did. She accepted it, and she taught it to others as well. Now, I turn to the matter of our having this memorial service today. There are actual benefits to our being here. And again, Solomon outlines this. I read earlier Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Let me read again 1 and 2. It says, a good name is better than good oil. I read that part. And the day of death than the day of birth. better to go to the house of mourning than to a house of feasting. For this is the end of every man, and the living should take it to heart. You and I, everybody within earshot of me, we are alike. My mother is not. So nothing I said was to benefit her or to cause her to react. The things I'm saying is to benefit us, those of us who have life. Yes, we need to take to heart, or the benefits of being here is to be reflective. It could be me that you're holding this service for. It could be any one of you that we are holding this service for. But we want to remember and to recognize and make it worth our while whenever we come to a funeral, to reflect on our own lives, where we are. And as we reflect, then what Moses wrote in Psalm 90 and verse 12 should really apply. There, Moses encourages us, or made the request, teach us how to count our days so that we may bring a heart of wisdom. I've used this scripture on several occasions at funeral discourses and for other reasons. And I always say, what can I think of differently whenever I read a scripture? I remember a comment that says that Moses was in essence encouraging us not to muddle through life. And you know what it is to muddle through? Imagine that you are searching for 10 cents in a 6-foot deep slush. Tell me how you're going to find it if you don't know exactly where it is. You have to muddle through. But then I thought of not just the aspect of muddling through, of counting. You know, if you're in an auditorium and it has 400 seats and you have a large gathering and you want to know what the attendance is, what do you have to do? You can't look at the crowd and estimate. That would be an estimate, or you have not counted. To count, you have to go 1, 2, 3, or you devise there's 7 seats in a row, 7 at 10. How many are missing? There's a system. So when it comes to counting our days, you, and I need to ask myself, do I have a system? Am I analyzing my life daily to see if I can do better here, if I'm doing here to continue, if I can make adjustments here to do it, or am I just living each day as it comes? We want to, as a result of being here, be inclined to reflect on how we can count our days so as to bring a heart of wisdom in. That psalm concludes with some interesting expressions. Show a faithful spirit. Keep firm in your conviction. Your praise is drawing near. I am convinced that Mommy was firm in her conviction. I am convinced that Mommy Junie, Mamacita Junie, showed a faithful spirit to the end. I am also convinced that Mommy wants to see every single one of us in the new world just around the corner. You know, as I thought of this, I thought of my children who have not yet made a dedication to Jehovah. And I think my children always say they love Granny June. But I thought, you know, how can they really show that they love Granny June? It has to be that they want to see her again. And how can they see Granny June again? If they bring a heart of wisdom in, because she lived that life. If it is that she preached to you in the ministry, if it is that she studied with you and you have not yet made a conscious decision, how can you show that, like her, you want to benefit from seeing her again? You bring a heart of wisdom in, and you apply the counsel. And even if we are currently, let's do our bit to maintain that. You know, somebody once said, during life, your mother holds your hand, but at death and forever, she holds your heart. I am convinced that this is true. I am convinced that there is a new world just around the corner. And to all of us, I say, write this down. The new world just around the corner, a paradise where sickness, sorrow, pain, and death will be no more. And I say, see you.
Well, thank you very much, my dear brother, for those glowing expressions about her dear mother and the emphasis you also place on her spiritual life. Thank you very, very much for those thoughts. All right. This formal session of our memorial service concludes with a song, Our Strength, Our Hope, Our Confidence. Again, the lyrics will be on the screen that you can follow. After that, we have a closing prayer of this section with Brother Thelston Blackman from the congregation associated with my mother in later years. And after that, I'll fill you in on one or two other little things if you stay with us a little longer. But remembering we're not going to go for hours on end here. So let's sing song number 3 on our, well, on the screen, not on the song sheet, Our Strength, Our Hope, Our Confidence, followed by closing prayer with a black.
Let us thank our God, Jehovah. Jehovah, our Father in the heavens above, our creator, our provider of every good and perfect gift. We humbly approach you at this hour to express our gratitude and thanks to you for being able to sit here and to reflect on the life lived by our dear Sister Muriel Hinds. Certainly, those of us who knew her well would be able to bear testimony to the life that she lived, and a life fully dedicated to you. And we were reminded of the thought that helps us to appreciate the value of being in a place of mourning like this, rather to be in the house of feasting, because we have the opportunity to benefit not only from the example set by our dear sister, but of course to examine our own lives and to reflect on ways in which we can deepen our relationship with you, draw closer to you in these difficult, momentous times in which we live, and of course, to provide an example for those with whom we serve as well. And so today, Jehovah, we give you thanks for the opportunity where we would have drawn some encouragement from this example of zeal set by our sister, her strong faith, and of course, her loyal love. And we also want to bear in mind the feelings, the deep feelings and affection of the immediate family who are still in the very early stages of grieving. And in the days and months ahead, may very well have their moments of sadness as they reflect on and as different things remind them of our dear sister. And so help us, Jehovah, that in any way that we can, all of us who are here, that we may from time to time reach out and provide the type of encouragement, emotional support that they may need to be able to heal over the period of time from this loss which they're currently suffering. And as we continue to reflect on the example of our dear sister, help us, in addition to counting our days, to make a special effort to ensure that our days, each day that we live, that we make each day count in your eyes by doing exactly what you expect us to do and by extending ourselves in these difficult times that we live, the closing period of this system of things. So we rejoice in the hope that has been made sure by the death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, the hope of the resurrection. And we look forward to one day being able to reunite with Sister Hinds, and of course, all our many friends and brothers who may precede us in death or who may pass in death, where we can enjoy what you have purposed in the paradise to come. So we give you thanks, Jehovah, for the opportunity to be here. Help us to support each other, very importantly, to support the family, and may we continue to be there to provide what encouragement we can. Do hear our prayer, Jehovah. Please accept our expressions of thanks. Continue, please, to give us your guidance and direction and the help and strength that we need daily as we ask you this prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you too, Brother Thelston. If you don't know, that's a cousin of dear Junie as well. So we did say a few things will happen after. Now, we've been graciously granted this platform for, we always hope about an hour and 20 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if the max we should go is about an hour and a half, not wanting to tire you. And as a result of that, we'll just ask those who have indicated to make a few expressions, to be a little time conscious here. And in the meantime, if Sister Mariam Bailey and Sister Gloria Burke can just raise your hands, then the guys at the control will be able to see you, because you're two of June's closest friends. Say two of, you're a whole lot of friends there. So without any further ado, I'll let Sister Bailey say a few words. And if Gloria, you can coming shortly after that, we would appreciate it. So, Marion, you're there. Can you go ahead, please?
First, I want to extend my deepest sympathy to the Hinds family from me and my family here. Sister Hinds was my dear friend, my teacher, and also my spiritual mother. I remember her being very patient with me during my studies back in the 1970s. I left Barbados in 1981 and came to live here in New York. And as the saying would go, out of sight, out of mind. Well, that was never happening to me and Sister Hinds. Between the two of us, we continue to communicate with each other through all of those years. She even had the opportunity to come and visit me here in New York twice. She was also very well liked by my husband, who would always welcome her into our home, both in Barbados and here in New York. So now I'm looking forward to the time when the scripture in Revelation 21:3-4 will be fulfilled. And we'll be able to enjoy life forever in the better world to come that is so near at hand. Love all of you. Stay safe.
Thank you very much,
That's
Marion.
it.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate those encouraging thoughts. Really appreciate it. Is Gloria there? Can we see Gloria, please? And Deborah, can you just raise your hand so that they see you after Gloria, please? So I know you're being sorted out. That's Deborah, her oldest sister.
Let me, oh yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, sis.
Okay, sweetheart. My condolences go to the Hinds family. I just want to say a few things. I'm going to make it brief because she was such a special person in my life, my mother life, my stepmother life, Miss Jones. I don't know if you remember her.
Yes.
Now, when I got the message, Sister Hinds died, I just broke down in tears. And then everything started coming back to me. I said, do you know that your mother, whatever they had in that land, if my mother don't go down to Cold Cave Gully and up Downshill, you call it, and in a minute she's in Richmond Hall to get things. If she doesn't go there, she go in town by Miss Hinds, and you can be assured he would have a meal. When they come witnessing out there, I'll give you a joke. One time they were talking about the hellfire, and you know, in Barbados they said, oh, if you lie to me, you're gonna burn in hell. You want to torment? So I go with my fast little self, and this in the 1950s. I said, but you know how God love you so much, and he gonna torment. I said, you mean he gonna bring you back and burn you and bring you back and torment you? So my science started to say, no, it's not literal fire. My mother said, sit down, little girl. Little children is supposed to be seen and not heard. So your mother said, come here. And I went drawn up in a little corner. She put her arms around my shoulder and said, come here. It's not literal fire. And from that time, nobody could get me to go to a church. I don't know if y'all remember a man named Brother Bertie from St. Joseph. He came down Walk Spring by the corner, keeping an open air meeting, they call it, and want me to kneel down in the road. He gonna bless me. I said, what you gonna can't bless me? You'll be saved. I said, saved from what? So Mavis said, you're a hypocrite, Gloria. You kneel down. No, I'm not kneeling down. So from then, I start following Rose and then through Cold Cave Gully Park in the bush, going up Westman Hall to go underneath that corner there by where going Allen View. Upstairs house under there.
Yes.
So I have some fond memories. She met my stepmother, my dad's wife, at my house. Next thing you know, Edna was being baptized. She was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You remember Miss Jones as a young boy?
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
That's
so
correct.
That's the memories I have. Some time ago, I went to Barbados, and on my iPad, I have a few of your pictures with Miss Hinds. So here, when they ask me, Gloria, what drew you to the truth? I go for my iPad, da-da-da.
How
So
sweet. How sweet.
this family is who got me to the truth.
Very good.
And to them how I was drawn to the truth.
Very,
So
it's really a pleasure to hear you. Honestly, it's very sweet.
Your-
Finish on. You go on. You go on.
your
Go on.
parents left me and many others a very lasting impression, okay? Things that I will never forget throughout my life. I haven't forgotten it. And I'm an old lady now, and I still remember when they come to eat the little sandwich by our house before they give the lecture. At that time, we didn't say public talk, we say lecture. So there's a lot of memories and good memories I have because from your mom and your dad, okay?
Thank you very much.
Mr. Arthur. And I'm gonna try to build my life on Jehovah's promises and live so I can see all those folks when the new order of things come. And
Very
it
good.
keeps me going every day. When I remember all these things, it motivates me and help me to move on with a good heart towards Jehovah, to serve him day after day.
Thank you very much, sis.
Thanks
I'll just say after that, amen. That's nice now. Very
I
nice.
thank you for letting me express my feelings, and I hope now, as she leave a lasting impression on me and my family, that I can leave a lasting impressions on you also, you know, to move ahead with the chariot, serve Jehovah with a complete heart, and we will sure to see your mom in the new order of things. Thanks.
Appreciate those thoughts, sis. Appreciate those thoughts very much. I am allowed to say Smokey. I can imagine how he feels there listening to you as you say all that.
I'm still tearing up. Smokey
You're
was
doing well. I saw him
was,
earlier on the screen. He's doing okay. And I saw Duriel on the screen as well.
Smokey was a little boy running around.
We were running with him as well, small. Thank you, sis. Okay, so I'll go now to Deborah. Let me tell you all, I'm not a secret man. I just got a call from my brother that gave the talk, and he gave me a couple of lashes and tell me forget this time thing. So sooner or later, I will leave you all to do this little time thing, okay? He just wants to hear you all. So I heard you, my dear brother, but nonetheless, I am where I am. So I'll go to my sister now, our oldest sister, and I wouldn't want to, you folks in America who have been everything to her, to miss a few words from her. So please, if you're there, Deborah, would you come in and say a little bit for us, please?
Well, you put me on the spot. Can you hear me?
Very clearly. And you're looking very nice today. Very good.
I appreciate that. But I sit here and I listen to everything everyone said, and it makes my heart swell with joy. And to say that my mom was just one special lady. That's the only way I can describe her, along with the adjectives and the descriptive words, positive words that were spoken about her. And they were all true. None was made up. Everything was true. As a matter of fact, I could say that she's a matriarch in every sense of the word. She loved almost everyone, and almost everyone loved her, yet they did not know her. They had never met her. Some spoke with her on the phone, and some heard about her from my comments to them on a daily basis at work. I had a special group of co-workers, and this is a story that I would want to relate briefly to express how she was always kind and caring. I heard of all the other descriptive words that you use, and Peter used, and the speakers who pray use. And like I said, it makes me feel full of joy. She loved Jehovah. And if you didn't love Jehovah, she would make you love Jehovah. At her last days, I would call and sing to her. And we would sing, and she knew the words. I was embarrassed because she knew the words and I didn't. But she sang, and whenever she was having a drab day, she'd say to me, trust in Jehovah. She'd give you expressions like seek peace and pursue it. This was the woman Muriel Hinds. And I'd like to share an experience, and then I will give you your space back. There was once upon a time, there were 4 men. They were in the parish of St. Thomas where my mother with us lived. And I happened to see her at the front of the house peeking. And I went to her and I said to her, why are you peeking? Who are you looking for? She said, you see that fella yonder? I don't think he had lunch. So I said, but that's not your concern. I was 15 and I had a flip mouth. So she said, that is my concern. So you get back inside. So I did. You obey her when she said to do something. You obey her. So I got back inside and then I saw her. She's still peeking. And then a minute later, she comes in the house and she picks a pot up and she starts to cook some rice and corned beef. And I said, who is that for? We're too early. It was too early for us to have our dinner. She said, mind your business. And the next thing I know, she's outside the front of the house with a pot of rice and corned beef to share with this fellow. He appreciated it because he had no lunch for that day. And for the rest of the week, my mother cooked him for me. That's Muriel Hinds. She's sweet, kind, loving, and caring, and we will miss her. But we will see her again around the corner in the resurrection. So have no fear. Jehovah is there, and so is she. I'd like to acknowledge a few people, my co-workers from the law department. Marie Ennis, Marion Bailey, who we just saw, Gloria Burt, who we just saw, Thomas James, Tuvia James Allen, Sybil Goodrich, Marie Ennis, Valerie, Jenny Bradford, Arlene Pereira, Reginald Phillips. Reggie does not know my mother, never met my mother, and every day Reggie called to see how Mama was doing, and she would always say, tell him Mama Cedar is holding on to Jehovah, and all of you do the same. So may we all hold on to Jehovah, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you too, sis. Thank you very, very much. You have to have Ayana. Is it Ayana that helped set you up there just now?
Yes, yes.
You have to have Ayana with you all the time. This was the best we've ever seen you. And we're not bringing you back for another funeral either. Just another conversation. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. While we're in Boston,
and one other thing I forgot.
Yes, please.
Tell me, Diane Lloyd Jones and her husband Craig and the Mills family.
Well, if you didn't do that, sorry, go on.
Yvonne Ellison, Merlin Reed, Matt, and Gus. I think I'm finished now.
You sure?
Yes, Bertha Taylor.
You sure?
Taylor. Yeah. I acknowledge such ones. Thank you very much.
You did very, very well. You did very well. And while we are there, I saw Brother Brodard on the screen. I saw John. Okay. I saw Laura. Here's
Laura and John and the Randolph and Charlotte and the girls and my girls.
All the where you from again? Boston crew. Here's a little something I'll share with you. Here's a little something. Good morning, Michael. This is Laura. Laura, don't kill me for doing this now. How are you and family doing? Very sorry about the loss of your dear mom. She lived a long life of faithful service to Jehovah, something that all of us can imitate. Now she's in Jehovah's memory, a safe place to be. For you and all the family, John and I pray that Jehovah will wrap his loving arms around you and give you comfort and peace now and in the coming days. You keep safe, etc. Just a little piece more. So that was from Laura, and thought very nice of you, Laura and John, to share those words, and really appreciate it. There's some others I don't have time to share with you, but there were some very encouraging thoughts. I'm glad too that you reached out to Johnny and Jimmy Mills. Go back a long time, and Johnny was really encouraging and strengthening to talk to. I saw him on the screen as well. To all of you, and to all of you who are tweeting your little condolence expressions, etc. Really appreciate it. I'm seeing them on the screen as well. So I don't know who we have in England in terms of if Theodore is there or not, but nonetheless, we'll continue. And here comes another one from Sharon Dennis. So for me, let me just also express my appreciation and kind expressions to the folks from my congregation here at Oistins, the elders and the rest of the body here, and the publishers. Your expressions have been faith strengthening, and Eddie and I and Keel, Simone, all of us in the family really appreciate your expressions that you've mentioned over the past week. And I'm sure, Deborah, you want to say something else? No? Okay. If you are, you're muted. Were you hoping to say something else? No? Okay. All right. So it looks now as if number David Hinds is coming in. And this is when I bid you an adieu, everyone, and leave David to take us through to the end of our memorial service. Once again, thanks to all of you for your time and your expressions, and all the best for the rest of the evening.
A very pleasant good afternoon to everyone who has made the sacrifice to spend a couple of moments with us. We totally appreciate your making that effort. We acknowledge that the challenges and circumstances that we all face at this time is a little difficult, but has been said repeatedly, we all, by and large, the majority of us, fully appreciate that death is the eventuality that we all face, and we draw strength and hope from the scriptures. Especially if you are one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you will draw on the words of Psalm 34:18 that says that Jehovah is close to those who are crushed in spirit, and he binds up the brokenhearted. If you're not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but like many of you have come by on the platform to acknowledge and show some level of appreciation, we deeply as a family acknowledge that and recognize that. At this time, in addition to thanking all of you, I would like, on behalf of my family as well, to express condolences to Brother Jeffrey Herwood, who buried his wife this morning. She's in another congregation. They were in thoughts, I think. So we haven't forgotten our fellow brother. But like I said, it's an eventuality, a realistic eventuality that all of us deal with. We also appreciate that it must have been a long day for many people. And but at the same time, Sister Hinds, my mother, would have spent 74 years in faithful service to Jehovah. And many of you friends would just want to at least reassure that, just share a thought, 30 seconds or more. After we've taken some of your expressions, we will, or should I reverse it? I know I've gotten a number of thoughts from quite a number of the friends who missed the initial video, and the video is really intended to be let me choose my words carefully. The video is intended to be a virtual expression of Sister Hinds' faith, commitment, and loyalty. So what we'll do is that, since that video is just about 7 minutes, I think we would take that first, and as soon as that is finished, you raise your hand and we will give you 30 seconds or so. We don't want to go too far. We understand the circumstances and the time frame, but just take 7 to 8 minutes. Have a look at the video again. Remember, and we are doing this as a source of encouragement, motivation, after which we'll take your expressions. Michael and Gretel and so on, we're coming right back to you. Appreciate it. So just let's have that video for about the 7 minutes or so. You know, and in the meantime, just as that video comes up, what I can tell you is that I don't think any of you would know, if you do know many, but my mom also had a sister who was a witness of Jehovah from her mother's side. She died 10 years ago. Edna Connell was her name. She also had a sister called Elaine, who never got baptized, but was also favorable to the good news. So I believe that at the time, only Jehovah is the judge, but the time that my mommy put in a faithful service to Jehovah would have covered some of those two sisters. He would make that decision. Bring that first video, please. Thank you.
should I fear the lion? Why should I fear any foe? With Jehovah by my side, I will not run and hide. My God is with me, this I know. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith.
Those faithful ones before us live their lives in loyalty. By their faith they endured, their future is assured. They'll stand again for all to see. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith.
With eyes of faith, I can move a mountain. With eyes of faith, my hope is sure. Where would I be without the faith that helps me see beyond the trials I endure?
I see the wondrous future God has in store for me. I need to be strong. I know it won't be long till Jehovah claims his victory. With eyes of faith I see beyond the darkness. With eyes of faith there's nothing more to fear. With Jehovah I am strong, determined to go on, knowing that my God is always near. With eyes of faith. With eyes of faith.
I close my eyes and I can see a world of peace, love, and harmony. Come with me and you'll see, you will see. It's not a dream, as I'm sure you know. These things God promised so long ago, a guarantee, sure to be, you will see. Look around, there's joy and laughter in every sound. Look and see, this is the way live again. We see them every day. Come with me, and you'll see, you will see. Pain and crying there used to be is gone forever. Now it's history. Come with me, and you'll see, you will see. Look around. There's joy and laughter in every sound. Look and see. This is the way our God meant it to be. Jehovah's word is enough for me. With eyes of faith, it's reality as we see what's in store. You can be sure, until the moon is no more. When you close your eyes and come with me to God's world of peace and harmony, come with me, and you'll see, you will see.
But that's it. Aye, that's it, folks. So let me just, Michael, if you don't mind, let me just hear Grethel Swift firstly, please. Go ahead, Grethel. Unmute yourself and go.
Could you just unmute me? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you very
I
much.
unmute you so that as you go over time, I'll be able to mute you as you go over time. Go ahead, Grethel.
Yeah, you know, Debbie is a dear friend of mine. I check on her because I never drove and she used to drive me around. So I thank Jehovah for her. And your mom has a wonderful home. And it's soon, the last moment. Okay, thank you.
Deeply appreciate your expressions, Grethel. Deeply appreciate. I see William. Sorry, William. Let me go back to Michael. His hand has been up there for quite some while. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you. Let me express my sincere condolences to the family on behalf of Marlene and I and my entire family, the children, grandchildren, great-grands, and all of them. And we certainly pray that you continue to keep your integrity to Jehovah. We know June would have done her part. She's had a tremendous impact on the lives of many individuals. I think she even had a little study with my wife in the early stages. And so we go back a long time, but my friends, Hinds, David, Peter, Michael, Joyce, Deborah, and can't forget Anne, that's my girl. All continue faithful to Jehovah, and he will certainly bless you. Love, my brother and sisters.
Thanks, Michael. You said Anne probably feels smart about that, man. Not many people remember Anne, but very good. I say thank you on her behalf. Brother Allen, your thoughts, please, my brother. Go right ahead. On mute and go.
I knew June when I was late in my teens. I was living in St. Andrew, and we would regularly frequent Wetchman Hall. But I remember as a tradesman, doing my trade sometimes at work around the town area, and I ride bicycle. So both June and your dad would encourage me to stay by, and I would spend part of the week there instead of going back down to St. Andrew. And June would cook for me. She would feed me. And therefore, there was a good relationship. At that time, there was no David, no Peter, no.
All right.
No. There was only two girls. There was Deborah and Dasa. Yeah. And I remember that we had a very good relationship with the family. But this is the best part. When I got married, the reception was kept there. You don't know about that either.
I know about that.
So fond memories go right away back. Everyone would remember those things. But I would say that, yes, she was a faithful woman, a lovable person. And she can be imitated by many of our young sisters. My condolences go to the family. We will see her soon.
Appreciate your expressions, Brother Allen, and we're encouraged by that. And the word that will recur all the time is faithful, loyal. Thanks very much, Andy. Andy is really Carol. That's how his name is here, but I know him as Andy.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to also express my sincere condolences. I've done that to you, David. I didn't get a chance to talk to Peter or Joyce or Anne or Deborah, but my expressions are just the same, my deep condolences. I will say that your mom has had an important, very important impact on my life. In fact, she's probably the first person that I was exposed to that allowed me to learn about Jehovah. And then, of course, being at the same school as you yourself, David, we would have had opportunities to carry on those kinds of conversations. But I will say that throughout my years at Sugar Hill, Sister Hinds always stood out as a very strong spiritual woman, and she was truly a mother. I have been a recipient of her generosity on many occasions, having been at your home there with the Hindses, of course, playing cricket, doing everything we would do as boys, picnicking in the works, and it was always Sister Hinds who was there for us. So I'm going to miss her, but I do know for sure that because of her stellar background, what she's done, her service to Jehovah, her loyalty, her dedication, and all the fine qualities that were mentioned before me, will guarantee that we'll see our dear Sister Hinds again. So
Appreciate
I
your-
just wanted to say thanks to all of you, because it is because of Sister Hinds that I can say that I'm a servant of Jehovah today. And for that, I'm grateful, and her legacy will continue to be one that I will always pay special attention to. So on behalf of myself, my wife who's here, and I think one of my children are on in the US, and the rest of the other two of them, again, my condolences. And we are going to see Sister Hinds when she wakes up. Sister Hinds has a beautiful tomorrow that lies ahead of her. I don't know what my tomorrow is, neither do you, but she knows that her tomorrow is going to be a beautiful tomorrow when she wakes up and she is in the greatest of health and enjoy the fullest of life.
Thanks, Andy. I remember the words in Psalm 37:28. Jehovah will not abandon his loyal ones, as you spoke. Appreciate it. Brother Brodar, please.
Yes, my name is Ronald, brought up from Boston, sitting next to my father. Just want to please let Brother Peter Hinds know that I appreciate his talk. It took a lot of courage on his part to give that talk. I know it wasn't easy for him. So please let him know I really enjoyed the talk. It was very upbuilding and encouraging. And we want to give our condolences to all the Hinds family. To tell them to stay strong, continue to serve Joe faithfully. We look forward to seeing each other in the paradise, and tell them I'll keep in my prayers each and every day. Not a day will go by. I appreciate meeting all of you, and I remember seeing the pictures on the video. I was really touched by her loyalty, her faithfulness to Jehovah. So I just want to let you all know that Hinds family, please stay strong, hang in there, don't ever give up. We'll see each other together in the new system.
Thank you kindly, my brother. Sister Blackman, please. We're going to take just about 5 or 6 more, then we're going to a breakout room, is my understanding, for a couple of moments. Go ahead, Sister Blackman.
Hi, good evening. I want to send my love to all the family and friends. And I will share my thoughts about June. I'll be brief. Mine was on Saturday morning going market. My mom, and when we go and see June, June will always be hugging me and squeezing me. It's like, I don't know how to put it, but to me, the older folks in the congregation love you and show it, express their love to you differently. So then when she thought say and wasn't able to make it to market anymore, I was disappointed, but I still was checking with Peter to find out how she's doing and stuff like that yet. So that's my thought of June. She was very loving.
Beautiful. We want to acknowledge that. You read it small, go right ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone.
Yes, please.
I remember Sister Hinds from back in Hillaby congregation. And when I visit back home, I also went to the congregation in St. Joseph. So she used to always ask Debbie for me. And when she see me back there too, she really embraced me, and she was very happy to see me too, visiting, and encouraged me to keep serving Jehovah. So I'm giving my deepest sympathy to all the Hinds family, and ask that you all will stay strong, continue to be serving Jehovah.
Appreciate that, Eureka. Really appreciate it. Ann Griffith.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Good evening to
on
you.
Behalf of the entire Lowe family, please accept our condolences. I've known the Hinds family from back in the 60s, and this go back from when we were going to the Clifton Hill congregation. We attended that same congregation, and Sister Hinds and my mom were very good friends. And my mom at the time, she would drive and she would take Sister Hinds home back and forth. And knowing the type of life that Sister Hinds lived, she was kind and she was very thoughtful, and she had a good knowledge of the truth. And I know, and I'm quite confident that I will see Sister Hinds in paradise.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Your expressions. Really, really appreciate it. And you stay strong. You nearly gave us an idea of your age when you say you're going way back your mom and Sister Hinds, because I know how old I am, and you were going back in the 1900s. Anyhow, go ahead, Tessa. All right, Ann. Go ahead, Daddy.
Yes, so I first of all want to convey my mother's sentiments, who, as you know, was a cousin of Sister June Hinds. She's not able to do it herself, because of technical hitches. But I believe there was a written tribute there sometime early in the evening. Just to let the entire family know how much this loss saddens my mother because of the close bonds shared over the years. I'd also like to convey the sentiments of my wife Beverly and our children, and by extension that includes now Adio Catwell, conveying our sympathies as well, and by extension all of the Black men who may not have the opportunity to express themselves like Amina has. We are saddened by this loss. I also want to finally represent the West Mohawk congregation in sharing the deepest sympathies, because we at the congregation have always been aware of Sister Hinds' loyalty, and it came through very clearly when in her later days, it may have been more convenient for her to have attended the congregation where her children were. Sister Hinds always ensured that for special occasions, the memorial, Circle of a Serious visit, that she was at West Mohawk to benefit from those occasions. So you would understand that for her to have passed the first day of the last Circuit of a Serious visit would have been a singular moment for the folks in West Mohawk. We're touched by her level of enthusiasm even in the days of her illness, and the visits that we would have been able to share from time to time were only interrupted because of the COVID virus and the risks associated with visiting her in person. But all of the brothers and sisters who would call her from time to time, where we meet for the ministry and so on, and thoughts were being shared, there's one consensus of opinion that she was always a ball of fire, a fountain of zeal, a live wire who provided the type of encouragement that anyone could benefit from and be uplifted by. So we just want to put on record the sense of loss that we feel and the deep appreciation which we have for a life which sets a fine example for us to continue faithful to Jehovah.
Thanks, Destin. I'm going to take just five more brief comments. Radcliffe, start with Radcliffe. I see your hand, Dictos, don't panic.
Yes, I want to express my condolences to the entire family, those who have not contacted us yet, and to mention what was said before by some of the friends. Sister Hinds was very loyal, faithful, humble, generous, encouraging to me personally, my first in my organization, hospitable, strong spiritual woman, loved the ministry, loved Jehovah. And I would say she's the modern day Lydia, who made you feel welcome whenever you come to her house. And like I said before, she always has something to give and a very encouraging thought from the Bible. The last time I spoke to her a few months ago, she said to me, "Be strong and stay faithful." I said, "Thank you, Sister Hinds. That's my attention." And I want to express again my sympathy to the entire family. And also mention that visiting your home in my early days in truth has cemented my organization. And I remember going there after meetings at night and playing card games after Warsaw study. And we have a night meeting there, discussing certain points. And I remember those days with the old man, like Lemon and those who were there. Those times were very encouraging to me. And whenever I have challenges in my life, I look back at those days. It helped me to keep going on. So again, my condolences, and may always remain faithful and strong in Jehovah's organization.
Thank you, Radcliffe. You let me just make this confession, because you said you would stay there late. That time I want to go and sleep. And you ain't going anywhere. Anyhow, we'll talk about that another time. Pamela Holder, don't forget, let me these contributions, the man would come there and sit down the whole night and through. Go ahead, Pam.
I just want to offer my sincere condolences to you. I know you personally, I know Joy, and I know Peter, but I haven't met your other brothers and sisters. But I want to offer my sincere condolences, and especially from my mother. She told me after wish you her condolences. And I can remember Sister Hinds first came to her congregation, although the congregation has split soon after I came there. I can always remember being a very strong woman. And whenever I go to convention, whenever she will always come in, and that's something I will never forget. So I want to remember that day, and I want to offer you and all your family sincere condolences. Me, my mom, and
yes, yes, Pamela. I wouldn't forget Ruth either. Please give Ruth our regards. Thank you ever so much. Elsie Beckles, we have to hear you in this group. We could always miss Christina Blackman. Go ahead, Elsie. On mute.
You can hear me?
Oh, yeah. There's a Zoom thing. No, you can hear me? Yes, Elsie. You're here loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone. my condolences to the whole Hinds family from me and all of my family. I know Sister Hinds for many years when she and Brother Hinds and Dessa would be out in the ministry regular. And after I become a witness, we had parts on the ministry school. We worked in the ministry together. And after she went over then to Mahal, sometime I would go and work with her group. She would take me on her studies and on her return visits. We would talk about the good old days. And then after things changed, then I would call her and she would call me. And when I called for her, when I asked her how she doing, she would say, Junie here holding she on. She always encouraged me to keep holding on to Jehovah. So I will miss her very much.
Thank you, Elsie. And I can concur with that. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you now that one of the last persons that my mommy would have had a telephone conversation with would have been yourself. And that was because of the consistency of communication. Really appreciate that. Christina, can you keep your comments at 33 seconds? Christina Blackman, please, so that I can get to Brother Toes. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, Christina, we don't hear you. We still not hear you. Okay, we can come back to you, Christina, because you're thinking, but we're not here. Let's hear you, Brother Dick Toes and wife. Go right ahead, my brother.
Okay. Hello, all. This is my wife, Maria. This is the most emotional trip back to Barbados I've ever made. 55 years ago, I met Junie and Fitz at Welshman Hall. And though we've been away for a number of years, whenever I think of Barbados, there are a lot of friends I think of. But Junie and Fitz come right to mind. I don't know why. It's a real emotional attachment. They were, Junie was, and Fitz, Junie and now we're talking about exactly what everyone said and more. But what I want to say is how happy, pleased, proudful Jehovah is of this beautiful woman. It's like our day text. Couldn't have a better text for today, and to include Junie in that discussion there, that he's given the lie to Satan the devil. Your mom has given the lie to Satan the devil. And all I can think of about the devil is him woefully sitting there. I did my best, but I failed. Now, Kadir, I have to face this woman in 1,000 years. What am I going to do? Beautiful woman, and the kind of example that all of us need in the spiritual women who oftentimes are behind the scenes, but they're the bedrock of spirituality in most congregations. So for the family and all, may Jehovah fill your hearts with anticipation, because it's coming and soon. God bless you all.
My brother, we sincerely appreciate the depth of your thoughtful expressions. Most sincerely. Thanks, Dick. I'm still calling you Dick. That goes back to old time days. Thank you very much. Carlos, you were at number 7 when I said we were going to take just 6 more. Lucy, you barely might get through the door. Anyhow, just go ahead, Carlos. Make it brief.
I will be.
Thank you.
Since I've met Sister Hinds, if she didn't pass, I would never know she had a name besides Mom or Sister Hinds. Right? But for the time that we've known her, we've drawn close. We always had special moments to be together, and we always look forward for a little chat. And better faith is that she always leave a scripture, or I was looking at this, right? I was reading this, and she always have something encouraging to say. What I'd like to do is to offer condolences to you and the entire family, from my wife and I. And for those that I know that you said no more. So I don't think anyone from the Sponsor congregation would have the opportunity to. So our condolences from the Sponsor congregation as well. I want to say thank you for the privilege that you granted me. I know you said no more, but behind the earth, I still believe that you would ask me to say something on behalf of the congregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. The sister that I'm seeing here, I don't think she's associated with Spooner. So I'm glad that you were so brilliant and representing Spooner. Excellent. I'm going to go to Clarkson Brewster, but just hold 1 second, Clarkson. Hold 1 second. Hold 1 second. Don't unmute. We have to hear Lucy Joseph.
Yes, David, this is Lucy. You remember JJ from Florida?
Yes, Lucy.
Yes. How are you? My condolences to you, David, all the family.
Thank you.
So we have the privilege to know your mom. She was a very nice lady. And I don't know if you remember when we give her a shower, no, not a shower, a bath with the leaves, remember?
Lucy, please do not come on this platform to talk about that bath and leaves. Don't come with that.
That was a souvenir.
Who could ever forget that?
Okay, my condolences. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Listen, this sister came and said she has this special way of taking care of certain illnesses, and a bush bath. He said, "Oh, Hinesy boy." Brother Clarkson, your thoughts. Share your expressions, please. We're wrapping up. Philip, I don't know if we're going to get to you, but go ahead, Clarkson.
Yeah, I can think of a scripture in Ruth 3 and verse 11, where Boaz says, "For everyone in the city knows that you are an excellent woman." And my experience with Sister Hinds has been nothing but excellent. I first met her in the Wexham Hall congregation years ago. I was a young man, and then a congregation that I gave a talk at Clifton Hill near the Moravian Church, somewhere there it was.
That's correct.
Many years ago. I gave a talk or two there, and I met her there. Always hospitable. The difference is that I was out in Christchurch and she was in St. Thomas, in the middle of the island. But I had contact with her husband, and I was privileged to give a prayer at her husband's funeral. Fitz, that shows you that Fitz and myself had a great relationship, and a lot of people don't know that. Even though I was a young fella, he was always giving me fatherly advice at the conventions at the stadium, the National Stadium, and I will never forget that advice he gave me. And I was privileged to help with the two of our grandsons. I helped to educate them. And also, I had the privilege of helping one of Michelle's grandson, who lived on that same street. And last time we saw Sister Hinds was at the funeral of Sister Hazel. She gave me a big hug. She had her stick, and she gave me a big hug, and I can still feel it. And
Whoa.
I called her late last year, and we had a good little chat. And those little tidbits, even though I was not as close to her because of physical distance as the Westman Hall people, I always loved her, and I always had a deep respect for her husband, who helped to train me as a young man to become the man that I am today.
Thanks, Clarkson. Thank you. And I can associate myself with your thoughts. and the connection that you have with the relatives. As a matter of fact, you talked about meetings. Sister Hinds went to 3 different congregations every week. One at her congregation, the second at Hillaby, and the third at Bank Hall. So from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the woman was in the Kingdom Hall every week for years, you know, such was the nature of her endeavor. Christina Blackman, I'm going to come back to you, so please sort your mic out, please. Let's hear Philip King, though.
Yes, just wanted to extend my family's condolences to you guys. I consider you family too, having grown with you guys. Mom and dad are resting now, but I hope to continue association with all the rest of you, because I know I will experience the same hospitality, the same integrity, the same love, the same laughter that she's given to all of you. And I look forward to that until the opportunity to see her again arises.
Appreciate your thoughts, Christopher. Christina, have you sorted your microphones out? Or not yet? All right. Kay Hinds.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to say 40 years ago, I met Sister Hinds because Peter and I started to court. And at first I was like, she's very cold with me because like instantly, Peter's dad and I were always very close. I loved him like a dad, but I could never get myself to call her mom. But like in the latter years, maybe within the last 20 years, I started to call her mom because we grew together. We became very close. And some days she would call me on my cell phone and say, Peter, where's Peter? I can't find him. She knew my cell phone by heart. That was the kind of woman that I love. I grew to love her as though she was my mother. And I will definitely miss her because she was such a kind and loving woman. That's all I gotta say. Thanks.
Thanks, Kia. This is Marian. Bailey, come back. Marian, you're back. Marian, just hold a second.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go
Yes,
ahead.
it's me again. Wait, am I mute? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, it was me again. We joked so much about those meetings that she would attend weekly. And I remember she saying to me one day, I don't know if it was you, Peter, or who, one of you asked her if she was a traveling, if she was in the traveling work. Circuit overseer. And we talk enough about that for so long that day. We used to have so much beautiful discussions about the times past, and I'm so happy that we had a long conversation. I think it was late December or early January before she really took to bed, and our conversations are going to continue in the near future. I'm looking forward to seeing that beautiful, loving person that aided me in the truth, and she taught me so much, especially since I was coming out of I was still in Christendom when she started studying with me. So she had a lot of patience with me, and I thank her down to her dying day.
Thank you, Marian. My records will show that the second last person that my mommy actually had a pleasant telephone conversation with before her passing would have been Marian Bailey coming in from New York. So I appreciate some people, my dear friends, I'm one of those people, if you know me well, that usually speak my mind. I said 20 minutes ago that we were going to take just 5 calls. I think you understand that. I took Lucy, beautiful Lucy. Somebody pushed me and I took somebody else. I don't remember. Clarkson Bruce, so that was nice, and Philip King. I'm going to start by husband's family. So Philport, that gives you a chance. you or Pauline to take 30 seconds of our time.
David Hinds,
Yes, my brother.
I met your mom before you. I met
Huh?
your mom in nine. I met your mom before I met you. I met your mom
Oh,
in
let's say
19
that. No, you met my mom before me. Say you met my mom before you met me. Good.
Okay.
Proper English. Go ahead, my brother.
All right. I met your mom in 1978, Victoria's Faith International Convention at the stadium. I was time like a lost little boy. And she said, young man, are you lost? I said, no, I'm just enjoying the convention. She said, I hope you ain't coming to take none of our Bajan sisters from us.
She would
2
say
years
that.
after,
She kind of, yeah, go ahead, Michael.
2 years after, when we got married, I went back and introduced myself to her. She said, yes, it's you. I thought you said you wasn't planning on taking nobody. Say, well, we get married. And then I told her, say, guess what? Your son was the photographer, so I can't even hide it. Very sweet woman. And since that time in 1978, we became very good friends. Every convention, circuit assembly, because we were in the same circuit as you know, I would go and look for Sister Hinds. Very, very nice lady. We're going to miss her. And our condolence to you, the Hinds family, Delston, and his family. Since that, me, Mike, and Peter are good friends. And I think me and you is buddies still.
And Pauline smiling, man. She made a good choice. Husband's family, I think you were the last, though. I am not sure. I'm going to go to Sybil Eversley because my mommy was an Eversley. Go ahead, husband's family.
Thanks very much, Brother David. Permit me to express thanks,
Eddie.
appreciation to, yes, sir. Is this the husband's family that you intended to?
Yes, I guess it's husband's family. I'm glad you know, make yourself known. Go ahead, my brother.
Yes,
I don't understand you behind the screen talking about husband's family. Go ahead.
Yes, Brother David. Permit me to express thanks, appreciation to you, members of the Hinds family, for the kindness and the deep appreciation which your mom, Sister Hinds, showered on me from time to time. I will be eternally grateful for the kindness of that outstanding matriarch. And that is the end of my contribution, please.
Thank you. And the very final comment publicly here before we go to a brief breakout room, and the breakout rooms might just be for about maybe just half an hour. So go ahead, Sybil, please.
Hi, David. This is not Sybil, but good afternoon. This is Andy.
Okay.
And I'm going to start the way I greeted you last year. My name is Anderson Eversley. I don't know if you know me.
From St. George.
But yes, I am.
You're my
pleasure.
cousin.
Yes, I am your cousin from St. George. And last year I was there for my mother's funeral, and I had not seen Aunt June in some time. And the spirit just brought me to the house. And someone is trying to call me, forgive me. And, you know, I do believe in visions, because when I came to your house and I introduced myself, you exclaimed, Andy, my mom has been talking about you. And she related a story where she saw me coming from America and was sitting in the veranda. All right. And that would always, I treasure that moment. All right. Because it told me that we were supposed to meet again. All right. I never got the chance to come back and see her again, but I would always treasure that moment. On behalf of my family, Sybil, who was a Hinds, and the Eversleys from St. George, Maureen, and the rest of the family, I want to express my condolences to all of the family. It was great to see so many faces, especially Debbie. I have not seen Debbie's face in probably over 40 years.
Write this number down, Andy. Okay. Write this number quickly.
I don't.
You got a pen and a paper here?
I don't have pen and paper with me right now. But I would have Maureen get in
Or
touch
get it
with
from
you.
Maureen. Get it from Maureen. I saw Maureen last week. I'll give it to
Yes.
Maureen and we can talk
Yes.
some more.
We will. So
Yes.
to the entire family, I want to offer my condolences. And
Thank you
for
very much.
those who may be seeing me, David is not my brother, he's my cousin.
Man, we ain't seeing you. Furthermore, I'm not seeing you. We seeing Sybil. What do you think I call a female name, Andy? I see Sybil. Anyhow, all right, okay, no problem.
The
no
video
problem,
is not up.
no problem, my cousin. I know that this is I know his Andy. Good. Thanks again. We can keep in contact.
This is the first time I've used Zoom.
Okay. We will keep in contact. We can keep in contact.
Thank you.
Good. Appreciate it.
Blessings to
Adio.
the family.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Adio. I'm breaking my promise all the time. Adio and Adio and Tia. Catwell, please. Now after Adio and Tia, because Christina has been there for quite some while, and now Robert Bryan, we stop at B. I got the alphabet cut down at B. Go ahead, Adio. But we'll be going to a breakout room for just a couple moments, right? So no problem. Go ahead, Adio or Tia.
Okay, I just wanted to briefly say condolences to the family. My memory of Sister Hinds, I want to give as a young person coming up in the congregation. Not only was she family, but she was a positive influence, spiritual influence. I remember sometimes when I was auxiliary pioneering, and I, didn't have calls, but Sister Hinds always had calls. She always made the effort to take us on her studies, and you could see the truth and how she felt about the truth and how she felt about Jehovah on each call, and coming out in her face, in her expressions, and it's something that I would never forget. Always a positive influence for the service, and she had that pioneer spirit. I'm thankful for the support and that influence that she had on all of us as young persons, and we will not forget it. So our sympathy to you guys.
Excellent. Thanks, dear. Really appreciate that. Christina and then Robert Bryan, finally.
Hi, David. Hope you can hear me now.
Loud and clear, my sister, loud and clear.
Yes, thank you very much for your patience. I want to express my condolences to the family on the passing of what I would have called her Auntie June, and my memories of her to share with my Uncle Telson said, and also Tia at the second crop of Eversley branch of grandchildren. My association with Sister Hinds or Auntie June was more on mornings, having to catch the bus to go to school, and she was such a, even if you had breakfast, she always wanted to make sure that you had something to leave with while they were waiting on Dan to get ready to catch the same bus. But she also shared the day's text, and she always made sure you went through the door with a scripture. And that was always something that stuck with us. And in addition to that, would have been her hospitality, because each time the circuit overseer came, you knew that she would have been there, and she always hosted the circuit overseer, and she always left that legacy. So I know, in speaking as a grandchild from Grandmammy's perspective, how close, 9 days apart, etc., and how it would affect her passing, both being the same age and everything, and also being sisters, to the entire family who I know would have been impacted, the Eversleys, the Prescas, Mirrors, come down that line. Again, to Debbie and Dan, Pedro, who would have been among my age group, as well as all of your siblings, my condolences again, and may you be comforted by Jehovah's words and the promises that we have for the future.
Thank you ever so much, Christina. Finally, Robert.
Yeah, I would just like to sum up your mom by saying you guys today take care of this memorial service. So Michael and then Peter gives such an excellent discourse, and then to hear you, to see you guys are really a reflection of your mother's spirituality. And of course, she was always such a person with that broad smile that she had. And even when you guys came down to play cricket. She will come with you all. But she was very she causes a lot of stability for you guys, and even when after your father died, you can see that she was still taking you guys and having you guys together, and stabilizing you. But most of all, her spirituality. It's good to hear you guys. Good to see you all. Some of the old friends here today.
Thanks, Robert. And you may, the breakout room may just be for about half an hour there, but because we understand people's circumstances. But just let me say this. There are some folks that did not get an opportunity to say how they feel, and we could acknowledge that. But I personally would like to mention one or two people that have been instrumental in being a source of encouragement during my mommy's spiritual years. People like Leonard Trotman, Val Walker, Johnny Mills has not been able to share a comment with us. We heard Brother Richard Toes, really appreciate that. There were others in her congregation, Yolan, Novaline, just to mention a few. Last week, we buried in her congregation a brother by the name of Mitchell Giddings. You might call him George. Excellent relationship with my mom. And so in many respects, there are so many people that I know we can't take all at this point in time, but we would like to thank every single one of you. Besides the spiritual appetite, though, I'll share this with those of you who have stayed on, because you might not have known this. But I think because you stayed on for the extra little couple of minutes, I share it with you. And it might be helpful for those of you who have older parents for whom you are doing caregiving. Several times, when you take something for my mommy to eat, my mommy would say, it ain't got no taste. You ever dealt with people like that? It ain't got no taste. And I rest the thing there and I go back and what do you think I find? All the plate that the thing went in there. And I said, this teach me something about Jehovah. Jehovah is a wonderful God. For food not to have taste, and for human beings to eat all, you ask yourself, how on earth are we so wonderfully made? You ever thought about that? But that was one of my better experiences, man. Food ain't gonna taste. So you know why she lived to 92 years old? Because they tasted food. She would also make sure that was never left in the plate. I try to relate it to her spirituality, though. And I say this, the picture that I saw, friends, of Sister Hinds that resonates with me is the one of her reading her Bible. You remember that? I think her foot is crossed. I'm not sure, but it is of my mommy reading her Bible. My mommy read that Bible until she was 91 and a half, going 3/4. Yeah. My mommy made telephone calls to persons in the territory when she was past 91 years old. Yeah. Past 91 years. So it's the spiritual aspect of the woman that reinforces my personal faith. And this is why I appreciate all the comments of your friends. The spirit of generosity, constant spirituality. And as a family, as a surviving family, we are exceptionally happy that those personality aspects of Sister Hinds were evident. So thanks again, folks. It might just be 20 minutes now left if you're going to a breakout room. Really appreciate it. Oh, sorry, finally, I need to express my deepest thanks and appreciation to Christine Thomas and Roger. And then my mommy has a relative called Val, a young relative who was one of her sister's children that has been very, very, very helpful. So I want to publicly register my association. Andy, we can keep in touch. Okay, my brother? So thanks again. And you may be in the breakout room for just a couple minutes. Thanks ever so much. And enjoy the rest of your evening, friends. Michael and Pauline? Okay.